Hey, welcome. So today we're jumping into absolute value. And I get it, for some of you that might trigger some math class flashbacks, but what if I told you that absolute value is way more than just a rule that makes a number positive? It's actually a super powerful tool for understanding distance, whether you're talking about tiny electronics or, the entire cosmos. So let's get into it. Okay, so picture this. You're an astronomer, maybe someone like Edwin Hubble back in the day, and you're measuring how far away a galaxy is. Now, does it really matter if that galaxy is kinda to your left or way over to your right or up or down? Nope, not at all. The distance is just the distance, right? It's always a positive number. So the big question is, how do we write that down in the language of math? How do we capture this idea of a pure directionless distance?
And that, my friends, is where absolute value comes in. At its heart, it's all about one thing: distance. So when you see those two little bars around a number, say the absolute value of -5, it's not just a magic trick, it's really asking a question. On a number line, how many steps away from 0 is -5? Well, it's 5 steps. The direction, the negative part, doesn't matter, and that's why the answer is always positive. This is the bedrock idea for everything else we're going to do.
So now that we've got the concept down, let's actually see what this thing looks like. Because honestly, in math, being able to visualize the shape of a function is a total game changer for understanding it. We're about to connect that algebra to a really simple, memorable, and pretty iconic shape.
Okay, so here's the engine that makes it all work. It's what we call a piecewise function, which is just a fancy way of saying it has a couple of different rules depending on what you plug into it. Rule number 1 is super easy. If the number you put in, x, is already positive or 0, you just leave it alone. The output is just x. But rule number 2 is where the magic happens for negative numbers. If x is less than 0, the output is negative x. And just think about that for a second. What's -5? It's positive 5. So this little two-part rule is the clever mechanism that guarantees we always get a positive result.
And when you plot those two rules on a graph, bam! You get this, the perfect V shape. You can see the right side is just the line y equals x, taking care of all the positive numbers. And the left side is the line y equals -x, handling all those negative inputs. They meet right there at the origin, creating that sharp little corner. This V is basically our home base for everything that's coming next.
And here's the really cool part. Once you know this basic V shape, you pretty much know how to graph any absolute value function. Seriously. All we're going to be doing is taking that V and just moving it around, shifting it left and right, up and down, maybe stretching it a bit. It's like playing with a single Lego block. Let's see how it's done.
All right, here's our starting point, our reference model, if you will. It's y equals the absolute value of x. The corner, its most important point, is sitting right at the origin, at coordinates 0, 0. Keep this one in mind, because every change we make is going to be based on this.
Now let's start moving it. Look at this new equation. The number that's inside the bars with the x, that controls our side-to-side, or horizontal shift. Now here's the one tricky part you got to remember. A -3 actually moves the graph to the right by 3. It's a little counterintuitive, I know. Then, the number outside the bars, that's our up and down, or vertical shift. A -2 moves the whole graph down by 2. So where's our new corner? It's moved from 0, 0 all the way over to 3, -2. It's as simple as that.
Okay, last piece of the puzzle. What if we stick a number out in front, like this 2? Well, that's our vertical stretch factor. It basically grabs the arms of the V and pulls them upwards twice as fast as before. This makes the graph look steeper, or narrower. And just like that, by reading the parts of the equation, we took our basic V, shifted it right and down, and made it steeper. We can graph anything now.
All right, we've totally got the visual side down. Now let's flip over to the other side of the coin. Forget drawing graphs for a minute. Let's solve the algebraic puzzle, which is really just asking what number, or x value, can I plug in to get a specific distance as the output?
This right here is the golden rule for solving these equations. You have to burn this into your brain. If you're saying that the distance of some stuff A from 0 is equal to a number B, it logically means that the stuff inside A could have been either positive B or it could have been negative B, right? Both of those are the exact same distance from 0. So this is key. We always split one absolute value equation into two separate regular equations.
Let's put that rule into action. We want to find the zeros of this function, which is just a fancy way of asking, where does the graph hit the x-axis? So, step 1, you've got to get the absolute value part all by itself. We'll add 7 to both sides, which gives us
4x plus 1 equals 7. Now we use our golden rule. We split it into two possibilities. Case 1, 4x plus 1 equals positive 7. In case 2, 4x plus 1 equals negative 7. Now you just solve those two simple equations and you get your two answers. X is 1.5 and x is negative 2.
All right, your turn. Let's see if you've got it. I want you to find the values of x that make this function equal to 0. Just follow those exact same steps we just walked through. Go on, hit pause right now and give it a shot.
So how'd you do? First, you should have added 3 to both sides to isolate the absolute value, leaving you with 2x minus 1 is equal to 3. Then you split it. Your first equation is 2x minus 1 is equal to 3, which gives you x is equal to 2. Your second equation is 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 3, which gives you x is equal to negative 1. If you got both of those, awesome work.
So, the last few problems have all given us two answers, but is that always going to happen? It's a great question, and it's something that trips people up all the time. So let's just clear this up right now. Do we always get two answers? Well, the number of answers you get depends completely on what the absolute value part is equal to after you get it by itself. If it equals a positive number, like 7 or 3 in our examples, you're going to get two solutions. That's the normal case. But what if it equals 0? Well, think about it. What number has a distance of 0 from 0? Only 0 itself, so in that case, you only get one solution. And finally, what if you solve it down and get something like absolute value equals a negative number? Well, that's impossible. Distance can never be negative, so if you see that, you can stop right there. There is no solution.
Okay, so we can graph these things, we can solve the equations, but what's the point? Why does any of this actually matter? Well, this is where we connect it all back to the real world, a place where absolute value is working behind the scenes constantly to help us define what's acceptable, what's precise, and what's in range.
I mean, think about making, well, anything. A piston for an engine, a chip for your phone. Nothing can be made perfectly, 100% to spec. There's always a tiny bit of error. A part that should be 10 millimeters might be 10.01 or maybe 9.99. The whole goal of quality control is just to make sure that variation, that error, stays within an okay range. So how do you describe that okay range using math?
You guessed it, absolute value. It's perfect for this. Take an electrical resistor. It's supposed to be 680 ohms, but it has a 5% tolerance. Well, 5% of 680 is 34. So that means the actual resistance can be off by as much as 34 ohms, higher or lower. We can write that whole idea down with this one beautiful, concise statement. This literally reads, the distance between the actual resistance, R, and the perfect value, 680, must be less than or equal to 34. How cool is that?
Okay, let's try one more. A more familiar situation. Let's say to pass a test, you have to score within 20 points of 80. How would you translate that phrase into absolute value notation? Think about the main idea we keep coming back to. It's all about distance.
And there you have it. The absolute value of your score minus 80 has to be less than or equal to 20. It's a perfect translation. It means the distance between whatever you scored and the target score of 80 can't be more than 20 points. It's just such an elegant and efficient way to express that idea.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. We started with this simple idea that absolute value is just distance. We saw how that one idea creates that V-shaped graph and how we can move that V all over the place. We figured out the secret to solving the equations is just to split them into two cases. And we saw how this is used all the time in the real world. So to wrap it all up, I've got one final challenge for you. I want you to really think about this one. Describe all the numbers x that are at a distance of exactly 4 away from the number 8. And more importantly, how would you write that idea down using absolute value? This question really gets to the core of everything we've talked about today.